Howdy folks, I'm Lupine Lutetium, loudly lulling lively lycanthropes.
I'm Amber.
And here are more lycanthropes for us to lull because apparently we're all wolf-like. Alright folks, our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Ruining My Boyfriend's Proposal Because of the Location He Chose? Hi everyone, there is a bit of drama happening between my boyfriend, a 28-year-old male, and I, a 26-year-old female, currently, and I need some help. I think the context is extremely important here. 9 years ago, I had an extremely traumatic experience. I was at the beach with my friends when I got caught in a rip and I started drowning. Thankfully, a bodyboarder held me up as I started going under, and then a lifeguard brought me back to land. Ever since this happened, I have developed a severe fear of water. I have not gone swimming since. I won't even get in the bathtub. I absolutely hate the water, and my boyfriend is aware of this. It was our 4-year anniversary 3 days ago, and he planned a super big surprise for me. But as soon as we arrived at the marina, I realized what was happening, and I went into full-on panic mode. My boyfriend had chartered a private yacht for our anniversary. I told him, "You know that I cannot get on a boat." He asked me why not, and I had to remind him that I'm fearful of the water. He quickly became frustrated and told me that I'm not going in the water, that I'm going to be on a yacht, so it's safe. I explained to him that that's irrelevant. I literally cannot be near or on the water without freaking out. I blatantly refused to get on the yacht. Long story short, we returned home and we started arguing immediately. I told him that I will give him the money that he paid for it, but he said that he isn't angry about the money that he wasted. He's angry that I ruined something romantic that he had planned months ago. He then revealed a ring box and told me that he was planning on proposing to me on the yacht. I was surprised by this, but also confused. I asked him why he thought that it would be a good idea to propose to me on a yacht, knowing my trauma surrounding water. To which he replied, "Go to a freaking therapist and work it out there instead of punishing and embarrassing me over it." We have barely spoken since. I do feel guilty, and I absolutely do want to marry him as he's the love of my life, but I cannot control my phobia. And I do think that he should have known better. He could have chosen literally anywhere else to propose to me, but really thought that that was the best place. Now I'm just really confused. Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
No, I don't think OP is the jerk. What her boyfriend did is at a minimum careless and at worst like a horribly jerkish thing to do. Like he either, one, completely forgot OP's phobia, which is not a good thing, or he knowingly decided to do this, knowing that this was a phobia and just expected her to get over it for his dream romantic thing.
Yeah, it's really strange. I don't think that he made the right choice here. And him telling her just to get over it, I think it shows a fundamental lack of understanding about how fears and phobias work. Now, I think that this does impact OP's life significantly, and it might be a good idea for them to work with a qualified therapist to help work through some of these fears, because not even being able to get into a bathtub seems a little bit hard, right? I mean, I'm sure that they can still shower and whatnot. I at least hope they can still shower, but I can understand them being fearful of water, but there are certain things that they can do to work through this too.
Right, and so getting therapy isn't a bad suggestion, and there are therapists who are able to really help people with phobias, but just the callousness where he's all focused about himself too, like, you're embarrassing me, you're punishing me. Like, it's not punishment to not want to face your phobia on what's supposed to be one of the happiest days of your life.
Yeah, and
Like,
some people also get seasick too, right? So, I mean, it's not even really a great place to take somebody who doesn't go on boats very often.
yeah, and like, there are just so many other places you could propose. Like, even if OP has therapy and, you know, learns to be more comfortable in water, it's still not like going to be a great spot because, you know, somewhere that's related to a trauma is just not a great proposal location.
Yeah. So I feel bad for OP here because it really does feel like her boyfriend is just being very dismissive of her and not giving her the respect that she needs in this space, you know.
And so really, I think OP should re-examine her relationship because he's being very dismissive and belittling here. And how often does he do this?
Yeah, and what else will he dismiss if it's inconvenient to him?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's definitely something that OP should look into is, examine and say, how is he treating her on a daily basis? And I understand that right now he's the love of her life, but maybe, they say that love is blind, or love blinds you, and that's something to consider is that you should be able to scrutinize relationships and see through some of the stuff that you might be blinded by. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Making My Husband Sell His Old Car? For the past few months, I'm a 41-year-old female, and I've been decluttering our house. We had a lot of unnecessary junk that we hadn't touched in years, and it was about time that we got rid of it. The one unnecessary item that has remained is my husband, Greg, a 46-year-old male's second car. It's an old Pontiac from 2005 that mainly just sits in our garage. Greg absolutely loves that car for no apparent reason. The car spends basically all year sitting in our garage covered in a special blanket, and Greg drives it less than 10 times a year. He has always maintained that it's a collector's item, and that is why he wishes to keep it in such good shape. But I honestly don't see the point. He only puts money into it and drives it so little. I've told him several times that I wanted the car gone so that we would have more space in our garage, but he has remained adamant that he would be keeping the car and eventually passing it on to our son, a 7-year-old male. I didn't like this idea for 2 reasons. 1, it's an old car and it seems unsafe, and 2, it doesn't solve the issue of the car taking up so much space. We argued about whether or not to sell the car for a few weeks, and Greg finally relented, and we did. We got a surprising amount of money from it. With the money, I bought us 2 new TVs and several new appliances, a couch and several home improvement items, among other things. We have about $12,000 of the money remaining, which I plan on spending on renovations on our backyard and garden in the spring. Greg has not been taking the car sale easily and often says things like he wishes he still had it and wonders if the dealership has sold it yet. A few days ago, he even started to mention how much sentimental value the car held. I was really annoyed by this since he had been doing this for days, and I did, probably too harshly, lash out at him. I said some things that probably weren't kind and asked him to stop talking about it since we were beyond that point. He has not mentioned it since. Yesterday, I was on a group call with my mom, a 77-year-old female, and younger sister, a 36-year-old female. We were catching up, and I mentioned how we've been improving our home. When I said that we sold Greg's old car to fund it, they weren't exactly happy about it since they thought the car was his most prized possession. I told them that it was needlessly taking up space and we got good money for it. But they downplayed that and said things like how I couldn't put a price on items like that. When they had asked how Greg had took the situation, I told them about our most recent argument. My sister became pretty upset and said that I was being overbearing and difficult. I was annoyed with this, so I told her that it was none of her concern and that she should not attempt to meddle in my relationship. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Yeah, I think OP's the jerk here. Like, it's very clear from this letter that the car had so much value to the husband that even OP's mom and sister recognized it.
Yeah.
And it seems like OP did, like, she wanted garage space, which, like, it's not like a must have. Like, it's not like they had no money and the money from the car was going to be the difference between eating or not eating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was just like a luxury thing. And now she's taking all the money that he poured into the car to do her little home renovations. It sounds like he doesn't even have a say in what they're doing. She's just doing her own thing with that money.
Yeah, I honestly feel like this is a horrible situation. Poor Greg here.
Mm-hmm.
Greg did not deserve any of this. And it sounds like he's just trying to pass this car on, and he wants to make it a good heirloom for his son. And that's a really nice thing, because it's oftentimes hard to get nice things like that. And it takes a long time or a lot of money, right? And I think that OP doesn't understand the value of this car, especially since you sold it for a surprising amount of money. He told you it was a collector's item,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that OP is focusing on the wrong thing, because the relationship is about how to maximize two people's happiness, right? And OP is maximizing her happiness, but not her husband's happiness.
And then she doesn't even acknowledge his feelings. She's like, you should be over it by now, when like that's just such an unhelpful response. Like, you forced him to sell this item. The least you could do is let him vent and acknowledge that his feelings are valid.
Yeah, so I think OP, you are completely in the wrong, and I would not be surprised if this eventually leads to a divorce. Unless you get that car back. Hopefully you can get the car back. I really feel so bad for poor Greg. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Epic Lover says, so by 2005 Pontiac, you likely mean a 2005 Pontiac GTO with a V6 and a 6-liter engine. That's the only Pontiac from 2005 that I can think of that somebody would keep for that long. Yes, you're the jerk. He told you it's a collector's item because it definitely could end up being one since V8s are on their way out. The fact that you don't want your son to drive it in 10 years because the safety is BS too. It'll almost be 30 years old by then. Nobody daily drives a car like that. Taking a Sunday drive twice a year really isn't dangerous. So in essence, you made him sell his prized possessions that could end up being a part of American history for TVs, which were probably made by children in Bangladesh. Honestly, if I were your husband and there wasn't a kid, I would probably divorce you over it. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Backing Out of a Wedding Because They Want to Screen Me? I'm a 27-year-old female, and I've been invited to my friend Tom, a 32-year-old male, as a +1 to his older brother's wedding, a 36-year-old male. Tom and I met at a party and have been friends for 10 years. He asked me out when we first met, and I said no. He's been in a few relationships over the years and had a long-term girlfriend for about 4 years. Tom broke up with his long-term girlfriend in March and asked me out quite a few times afterwards. This has caused tension within our friendship. But the last time we spoke about it, he seemed to understand that I wasn't interested, and a relationship with me was never going to be on the table. His family has been putting pressure on him to settle down and get married, especially since his brother got engaged. He asked me if I could be his +1 to his big brother's wedding, so he wouldn't go alone, and I reluctantly said yes. Tom told his brother about me, and his brother said that he would like to meet me before the wedding in case it's awkward, and he doesn't want anyone ruining his wedding. I thought that this was a tad strange because I'm only a +1. I'm not part of the wedding party, but I said sure, arrange something if you want to. Tom's brother has since told his mother and father about me. Now his mother wants to meet me before the wedding too. And Tom said, just to make sure you'll fit in with everyone. I feel like I'm being screened and I'm finding it kind of offensive. I'm starting to think that Tom maybe has implied that I'm more than a friend to his family. It's making me uncomfortable. So will I be a jerk if I pulled out of the wedding? Or is this normal and I'm only being overly sensitive? Alright folks, what do you think?
I don't think Opie's being the jerk. I think that Tom has put her in a very awkward situation. He's either one, and I'm guessing this is the situation, misrepresenting.
Vampires. Oh, I thought this was one of the things where we were going to say it at the same time. No, they're not vampires?
No.
Okay, that's where I was going with this, because it sounds like a vampire cult thing.
No, it sounds like either one, Tom has very strongly misrepresented the nature of their relationship to his family, or two, they're just so, like, hungry for him to be married that they're like, oh, he's bringing a woman, we must grill her to make sure she's the next Mrs. Tom.
Yeah, hungry, not vampires. I think that this is one of those situations where Amber has hit the nail on the head here. It's just such a strange situation that they're screening OP like this. There really has to only be two options here, unless like the vampire thing is on the table, which I'm still rooting for because I think that is really where this is going.
I mean, even if that's on the table, none of these options are reasons for Opie to go to the wedding.
Yeah, I mean, OP, you shouldn't go to the wedding unless you want to be a cool vampire. I mean, who wouldn't? But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Vampire cults. Can't live with them. Can't live without them. And Wiggly Pie says, not the jerk. And now might be a good time to let this friendship go. He's not taking no for an answer and has been constantly dismissing your feelings and boundary for years on the subject of dating. Based on how his family's reacting, I would be curious as to what he's told them about you. recently and over the last 10 years. Him just getting out of a 4-year relationship and then pursuing someone that he's had a torch for 10 years is suspect. Out of curiosity, do you know why he broke up with his girlfriend? And OP replies, short story, his girlfriend wanted to get married and he didn't. His girlfriend was also traveling for work a lot and not around much anymore. The long story is where it kind of gets murky. Tom, for about a year before he ended it, was telling me that he wanted to end it. Before he did, though, he implicitly asked me if he did end it, would I be interested in something more than a friendship? I blew up at him, and I said that he can't treat his girlfriend that way, and we didn't talk for a few months. I thought that the friendship was over. He later then apologized and said that he was going through some things right now and wasn't thinking clearly. He then told me how he ended it with her. Ouch. This is over, OP.
Yeah, I mean, this commenter really brought up a lot of the important points. Like, he has already trampled all over your boundaries before, in that, like, you keep telling him no.
Yeah.
You should not have to repeatedly tell someone no. And he's only in this friendship to get with you. Like, he's been holding a flame for 10 years and he's still not over it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that he's stuck in this whole Hallmark movie moment where the person who pursues someone for 10 years finally gets with a girl and then they live their happily ever after or something like that, which I don't think that works out in real life.
No, it's not romantic. It's just gross and stalkery and creepy. There's no good side to it.
I mean, there are friends to lovers.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And, I mean, certainly, like, OP and her could, OP and him could eventually have developed a relationship, supposing that they had just eventually gone closer, right? But not in the way that he's doing.
No, when you have just one person who is repeatedly pursuing the other, when the other person has made it explicit they have no interest, like, that shows that they have a lack of respect for that other person.
Yeah, exactly. All right, folks, and our last letter is an update. Am I a jerk for forcing my brother to buy me a new engagement ring? And as you folks might remember, this one was where OP's brother stole an engagement ring from them. But we have an update now. First, the good news. My girlfriend and I are engaged, and I proposed to her on our anniversary just as I had planned. She said yes, and we both cried. I love this woman, and I can't wait to marry her. Also, my brother is single. A couple days after my post, my mom called me and apologized. After thinking it through, she realized that while I did threaten his relationship, my brother had brought this upon himself. She confronted him the next day, and he ended up confessing that he wasn't going to propose until I said that I was going to. My brother is older, but I've hit many milestones earlier than him. He's never seemed bitter about it. We've always been close and supported each other, which is why I was completely blindsided by what he did. Finding out that I was proposing made him panic. He spontaneously said that he was going to do so too, but freaked out about picking out an engagement ring and devised a plan, according to him, that made sense to him. Use mine and take his girlfriend to buy a new one later. That plan was ruined when I said no, so he stole my ring. The new plan was to propose with it, take her to buy a new one, and find an excuse to visit me the next day and discreetly return the ring to my apartment. I wasn't even supposed to know that it was gone. That plan was also ruined due to his girlfriend immediately announcing it. He knew that she was going to, but not that she would show the ring. Then he got mad that I made him get a new ring, because he told his girlfriend that he would get her one too. So his plan to spare himself the effort of choosing an engagement ring would end up making him buy 2 rings. Basically, my mom got him to admit the whole engagement was a panic move. She said that he already seemed embarrassed when they started talking, but he was a wreck by the time they were done. She told him to apologize to me, and he called me an hour later to do so. He seemed sincere. Many of you said his girlfriend deserved to know the truth, and I agree. The only reason that I hadn't done so was because I thought that it should come from my brother. So I took the opportunity to tell him that if he truly loved her, he would tell her the truth. He did. I don't know much of what was said, but she dumped him. He gave me back the first ring and refused my offer to pay him back what he had spent on the new one. As some of you recommended, I waited 2 days after proposing to tell my fiancée what happened. She was furious, but reassured me that she loved her ring more than any other. Since the first one was on sale, I can't return it to a store, so we're thinking of selling it. I haven't forgiven my brother, but because he's never done anything like this before, I'm willing to give him another chance. I'm going low contact for now, and he'll have to earn my trust back. I really hope he does. I love him, and I don't want our relationship to end over what he did. Both my fiancé and mom agree with me on this. There's more that I want to add, but the word limit is not helping. I'll try to reply to more comments this time. Thank you. All right, folks, what do you think of this update?
I mean, congratulations to OP on his engagement. It seems like it mostly resolved well. It's an unfortunate situation, but I'm glad that things are mostly sorted.
Yeah, I'm glad that the mom came around. And I mean, I understand her feeling confused by the situation because it sounds like they don't really fight and they usually get along. And, you know, it can be hard to try to be a neutral party in something like that, especially when you can't really be neutral. Like one person stole something from another person, right? So I'm just glad that OP and his girlfriend are happy, and I feel a little bad that OP's brother and his ex-fiance are not together anymore. But I mean, again, like, it's gonna be hard to come back from something like that, right? Let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she's got a joke.
What's green, weighs 400 pounds, and has 8 wheels?
I can tell you exactly. What's green, weighs 400 pounds, and has wheels? A kind of a bus? A small bus with 8 wheels? I don't know. A tractor with 8 wheels.
Frankenstein on roller skates.
Frankenstein on roller skates. You know, I think that book is mistaken about how much Frankenstein weighs, unless Frankenstein has started to eat quite a bit of food here, because that's 800 pounds is a lot for Frankenstein.
400.
400? Oh, well, okay. And I have Earl Grey. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, spectacular, special Saturday. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please, have it in the form of a strange wedding proposal.
Well, it's not going to be a moral. I'm just going to paint a picture for you. So, OP in story 3 shows up with Tom at the wedding, and then during the reception, he gets down on one knee and pulls out the ring, and his family is all excited, and I feel like that's where that would go eventually. It's because of horror story. That's our horror story for tonight. It's October. We need horror stories.
Tom is going to propose to the OP3. Oh, I like this. And then it's going to be a public proposal.
Yeah.
So
to try and coerce her, and like, how can she say no in public?
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.